Good snowy morning. I thought it was springtime, but we've got some snow coming in. Just a cute snow, though. Alright, hello and welcome. I'm going to do a card reading for us. I'm actually using a different deck than I usually do. This is my Tantric Dakini Oracle, which is pretty cool. A lot of crazy transformational stuff has been going on for a lot of people, so I'm hoping to illuminate something good. Alright, so let's see what Spirit, what God, the universe wants to tell us. What's on the collective heart or the personal heart? The first one we've got here, this is Cosmic Carrot. Alright, so this guy's about going deep, getting back to your roots, getting real earthy. Cosmic Carrot, you know, carrots, they grow in the ground. They sit there. They're all cozied up in the dirt, growing. Really sucking up that earth energy, you know? Carrots, they're very earthy. Part of that, I think, has a lot to do with embodiment. People talk a lot about getting back to their roots, getting back to basics, finding what's really important, determining what you value in your own life, and also how that sort of reflects across the collective, across your communities. So Cosmic Carrot, that's our first one. It's about kind of getting back into what really matters, and I think that is a big theme for sort of what's going on in the world. A lot of people very stressed out, a lot of scared folk, given the state of things. So this Cosmic Carrot is about figuring out what is really important to you. Maybe turning away from those things that fill you with fear, those things that fill you with anxiety and feeling like you're not sure about the future. You don't know, what's going to happen. Some of those end of the world thoughts, all of that. None of that is especially helpful if you're trying to live a life of peace, live a life of satisfaction. What else have we got here? Ooh, just passing through. Don't worry, you guys. This time of stress, it's been very stressful. It's been very transformational, stressful. I've heard it across the board from a lot of people. People are going through a lot of things. They're going through a lot of big transformations and a lot of letting go, a lot of kind of doing sort of what this Cosmic Carrot thing is suggesting, but really focusing on what's the important stuff. What is valuable to me in a very real way, in a very deep way, and remembering that. But also remembering that all of this is in a lot of ways temporary. Everything's temporary. All things are just passing through. And so during this time, for a lot of folks, I know it's been very challenging. A lot of letting go of stuff, letting go of relationships, letting go of ideas that are limiting. And all of this can be really challenging to deal with because you have to sort of rustle up all of the things that keep you in your box, keep you limited, keep you from believing in yourself, all that negative self-talk, all those ideas that tell you that you can't do what you deeply want to do or what you know that you have a calling to do. So all of that really is important. It's important to go through the sort of the tidying up, the organization. You got to Marie Kondo your life sometimes. You know, like, does this idea bring me joy? Does this way of being bring me joy? And if the answer is no and you want joy, then see where those things can be transmuted. And a lot of times what I find is that we don't have to work as hard as we think. The just passing through card reminds me in a lot of ways that we don't have control in the way that we think we do over things. We don't make things happen quite the way that we think we do in our conscious minds. We think, oh, well, I want something, I'll do it, I'll make it happen. That's that. But you may have noticed in your life that you try and do things and they don't always work out the way that you had planned. You know, you did all your plans and it sort of fell through. And some of that is self-sabotage. Anyway, all I'm saying is that there's something else going on inside. You know, there's other things that contribute to our belief structures, that contribute to our outside world. And the outside world is really reflective of the inside world, which also speaks to this cosmic carrot, as above, so below. You know, you think, oh, well, I want to ascend. I want to get to the stars. I want to be, my highest Christed self, whatever. And so you think, well, why would I look down? Why would I go into the dirt? Why would I go deep into this carrot space? And it's because as above, so below. As within, so without. If you want to go up, sometimes the quickest way to get there is to go down, to go in. And you'll find that it's all a big circle in a way. You know, if you go west long enough, you'll get back to where you came from. So we've got these two cards, you know, just passing through cosmic carrot. So we're all, like I said, very, very much working on these really potent transformations, and it's been tough. It's been a real challenge, but let's see what else we've got here. Oh, Ganesh, the Lord of Obstacles. I love Ganesh. So, very fitting, in a way, of what I was just talking about, that there's things that we want to achieve, things that we want to experience in our lives, things that bring us satisfaction. And a lot of times we end up running up against obstacles, and that can be very frustrating, can be very disheartening. But what if I told you that the obstacle is the path? What if I told you that if you came across an obstacle, it was a great way, it's a great place for you to learn about yourself, to learn about where you're going, to learn about your patterns, to learn about who you are inside, to learn about how you deal with stuff. All that stuff is really... You think that it doesn't make as big of a difference, you know, when you do all this introspection, when you do all this transformational work. And sometimes if you don't keep up on it, a lot of times it feels like it sort of goes by the wayside, and all that work was wasted. You know, you spent all this time growing, transmuting, all this stuff, and then something comes up, an obstacle or whatever, and it really discourages you. And maybe you'll get distracted, and you don't spend as much time on spiritual, personal matters. And that's okay, because that's all part of the cycle. It's always part of the cycle. But what I would invite us all to do is that when we do come across an obstacle, instead of seeing it as like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do this thing I want to do, I'm not going to be able to achieve what I want. We live by a trail, there's joggers. But, you know, sometimes we fear that when we come across an obstacle, it's like, well, this is the universe telling us, nope, that's not the way. You can't have what you want. You don't get to go this way. You have to turn around. You have to change all your plans. You have to, that thing that you knew in your heart and soul that you wanted, well, too bad. Because here's this obstacle. Well, Ganesh is telling you, Ganesh is the Lord of obstacles. Ganesh is the obstacle, and he's also the entity that is able to remove the obstacle. And so Ganesh invites us to embrace the obstacles and to see the obstacles not as a sign that we are failing or a sign that we are going the wrong way, but a sign that we are going the right way, and a sign that sometimes we have a challenge that we need to step up to. And I think collectively that's what we're all being asked right now, is to step up into our place, our real place, our authentic, magical place in the cosmos and in the collective and in the community to really do what it is that we were put here to do, what it is that our soul is calling for us to do. And the collective needs that. We all need that. We see the ways in which society, people are suffering, and we see all this fear, and we see all this uncertainty, and it is really scary. It's a lot of big changes. Let's take another card. This card is about discernment, pearls before swine. Sometimes, especially when dealing with collective issues, when dealing with things that, when dealing with things that have to do with your gifts, your own personal offerings to this world, to the collective, when dealing with that kind of thing, sometimes we end up in communities, or we end up with customers or clients or whatever that are more, that don't resonate. You could say, that's a nice way to put it. They don't resonate, maybe they resonate with someone else. And sometimes it can feel really inky when we have to rely on outside sources for our resource. We have to rely on money. We have to rely on clients. It can be really scary to use your discernment and to say no to certain clients or certain opportunities that don't resonate because you're afraid, because you don't think that you're going to have another chance to make whatever it is happen, and that if you don't harness that, you're going to fail somehow. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the only way to do things. I'm here to tell you that it is actually way more effective to be discerning about who you share your gifts with, and who you share your knowledge and your wisdom with, and who you take on as customers and who you take on as clients. It is always better to have the clients and the customers and the community, the people around you, even friends and family that you spend a lot of time with. You want to make sure that when you share your wisdom, when you share your gifts, that you're not sharing them with people and in environments that make you feel discouraged, that make you feel like, oh, nobody appreciates me, nobody appreciates what I'm doing, nobody values me. It adds those stories back into your head that you're not trying to work with anymore. And so this card, a lot about discernment. You have these gifts, you have this wisdom, and you want to share it, but you have to make sure that you remain within your values, that you don't let fear or scarcity make you shift away from what values you really deeply hold. And that is another part of this cosmic carrot, going in deep, going into the roots, finding out what is true in your heart and your soul. Reject all of the stories that don't belong to you, and what is true for you. And by doing that, you're going to be able to magnetize yourself to communities that are resonant with what you're trying to do. But if you are constantly trying to get somebody, the same, your best friend, your mom, whatever, to understand that what you do is important and it's valuable, but they keep telling you they don't care, stop sharing it with those people. Just Find people who appreciate you because they're out there. I promise. All right, one more. We'll see. One more card. What else does this deck have to say? Oh, mean and heavy. Oh no. All right, I love mean and heavy. This is a great card. Man, I think I'm gonna have to maybe take one more card after this. This deck has a lot to say right now. There's a lot going on. There's a ton going on. Energetically, transformationally, in the collective. Everybody, if you talk to anybody, they're all going through something weird. Transformational. So mean and heavy is about putting your dominatrix boots on and making happen what you want, and being brave about it, and being forceful in some ways. And there's a lot of times when being a strong force is so scary. It's very scary because people don't want to take up more space than they're supposed to, or hurt people. That's where I'm always coming from, is that I fear in a lot of ways that if I were to step into my full power, that it would cause me to be mean and heavy, and I don't want to be mean and heavy ultimately. But embracing those energies, embracing that sort of power inside of you is actually very potent, and it's a great way to cultivate compassion as well, and to hold both of those entities, to hold compassion and to hold that like kind of terrifying destructive power at the same time. That's sort of in a lot of ways collectively what we're going through as well, in that there's a lot of intense, angry, justifiably angry energies in our world. And these things that bring up these potent energies, because they are very potent, they're very powerful, especially righteous anger, when something's happening that is so wrong that it brings up this righteous anger. That's a good thing. Like, anger is a good thing. Anger is not bad. It's a feeling. And it can fire us up. It can fire us up about important changes that need to be made. It can bolster us when we're going through some really hard challenges. And we're gonna have to put on our boots to get this stuff done, to make the world, some of us, are here very deliberately to be midwives for the birth of this new something. And I think that we see people who are like, they're burying their heads in the sand. They're like, oh, I cannot do this, I've been getting a lot of sort of ideas that it's time to step up, it's time for us. It's time for us magical folks to step up and the people who are audacious and brave enough to own their gifts and to sometimes seem kind of mean and heavy, It's really important and it's really brave. And we are the way showers for this next, this transition that is underway. It is happening. If you haven't felt it, you're going to start feeling it. But I have a feeling since you're here, you're feeling it already. All right, we're going to do one more card, and then I'll do a sort of good, horseplay. I love that one. All right, so what do we got here? So we've got Cosmic Carrot, we've got Just Passing Through, we've got Ganesh, Mean and Heavy, Pearls Before Swine, and Horseplay. All right. So overall, with all these cool cards, what I'm seeing is you've probably been experiencing it and feeling it yourself. Just all of this sort of intense transformational stuff that has forced us all, in a way, to let go of what no longer works for us, to let go of stories that are just, they're just yucky. They're old, they're outdated, they're based in fear. We don't need any of that. And so, the cosmic carrot asking us to really go with it, go into the earthiness of ourselves, our bodies. And what does all that have to tell us? And what can we learn from being deeply connected to our own bodies and to the earth? And then this just passing through. A reminder that all of this is temporary, and all this intense energy in particular, it's moving. We've got this momentum. It's going through. It is just passing through. We're going to pass through it, one way or another. Ganesh, pearls before swine. Don't forget. Be discerning with your energy. Be discerning where you place your gifts, where you share yourself. Because we need you to be powerful, audaciously powerful. We need you to embody this mean and heavy in some ways, but also with deep compassion. If you are standing on a foundation that is your values, if you're standing on a foundation of your personal deep values, and if you can remain grounded in that, in what's important to you, not what everybody thinks you should think is important, but what's really deeply important to you. What do you know to be true about life and love and community and all this stuff? What do you know to be true about existence? And if you can figure that out, if you can suss out what is your value, it's a lot easier to live by that. It's easier to make decisions, and it's a lot easier to embody what you need to embody when you need to embody it. And then Ganesha, Ganesha's such a great, he's a great friend, because he is not afraid of the challenge. He loves a challenge. He's the Lord of obstacles. He's the Lord of the challenge. All this isn't supposed to be that easy. It's easier than we like to make it, but it can't be too easy, because then it'd be boring. But then the last thing we got is we got horseplay. And I think what this is telling us is that if we can hold on, if we can manage to ride this wave of transformation that has been really wild, at the end of it, we're gonna all be able to play and play and play. We're creating a new world where we're gonna be able to have a way more better time. Valuing play, valuing the good times, and valuing even the challenges from a place of playfulness, a place of somewhat non-seriousness. Very potent stuff. Very, very interesting, potent, wild stuff we're going through right now. If you feel the need to get your own reading, if you're called for a personalized reading, I am offering those now very officially at my website. So please check it out in the description. I'm also doing a crystal garage sale, so there's also a link for that below if you have a need for any rocks. I'm selling them for cheap. So check out my link, and I'm happy to work with you on whatever you need. But overall, look at these great, beautiful cards we got. This is a great deck. Well, thank you for joining me here in my snowy little garden in front of my bower. My little hands and my nose is kind of red, getting cold. This is sort of a long one. I'm so pleased to be transforming with you all in this wild and crazy time we're in. And I'm really excited to see what kind of wizards come forward through this. Because walking this path, this mystical path, especially the last few months, has been so wild. It's been so transformative. Really. So also, if you need any help navigating transformative stuff, feel free to reach out. Check out my website. I have some options available for if you would like tarot readings or spiritual coffee talk, counseling type stuff. I am a Reverend. So there's a lot of crazy energies going on. So if you've been going through a transformation and you would like a personal reading, either with my fancy tantric dakini oracle or more traditional tarot, check out my website. I have some offerings available, and I'm also doing a special introductory sort of dealio. So if you get a tarot reading anytime in the next week, I will give you 50% off. 50% off. But you have to mention that you saw this video. It's a secret. So visit my website, check it out. And if you're interested in a reading, send me an email or reach out sometime. And I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.